David's alive anyhow, which is something. How do you spell victuals by? John!
Excuse me, sir, but Mr. Scott Fowler wants to know if you can let him have your bottle of bicarbonate of soda. He seems to have run out of his.
It's on my table, by the side of my bed.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, what was I saying?
You weren't saying anything. You were in a drunken coma.
I haven't even had a drink yet.
No, but I bet you a bit of a hangover.
On the contrary, I feel extremely well this morning.
Don't you really have a hangover? Honestly.
Honestly.
There's no justice in life. I must have drunk an eighth of what you and David and the rest of you drank last night, and I've got a head that's apt to explode any minute. How do you do it?
It's simply a matter of faith.
And bicarbonate of soda.
That helps.
Hey, before you go to sleep again, tell me how to spell victuals bar.
Oh, does it matter?
Yes.
W-I-T-T-E-R-S-B-A-C-H.
Thanks.
What are you doing, anyway? Writing David Fort for you?
I'm typing out the stuff he dictated last night, and I wanted to get it finished this morning, so kindly go to sleep and don't interrupt again.
Last night? Did you say he dictated to you last night?
Well, this morning, to be exact, from 2 to 5.
But when I went to bed, he was as drunk as I was.
The stuff he dictated seemed to make sense, all right.
It's cruelty to children. Isn't there some sort of a secretaries' union or something you could complain to?
I don't mind. After 2 weeks of sitting about doing nothing, it was quite a relief to have some work to do at last.
Eager little thing, aren't you?
I hate wasting my time, if that's what you mean. And I hate taking £5 a week for doing nothing.
Why?
Because I believe one ought to work for one's living.
It's an interesting article of faith. I don't remember having heard it before.
No, don't suppose you have.
But if you're in the fortunate position of being able to live without working, which you are, what are you fussing about?
I'm fussing about being a poor relation taking charity from my rich cousin.
Oh, I can understand you fussing about being a poor relation, but not about taking charity from your rich cousin.
It's no good talking to you. You wouldn't understand how I felt about it in a month of Sundays.
No, just have
I wish to God you'd shut up and leave me to do this stuff in peace.
What's the hurry?
If I don't finish typing it out by lunchtime, David will kick up hell.
I think it's extremely unlikely that David remembers that he dictated to you at all last night, much less what he dictated.
Go to sleep. There's a good fellow.
Now, here are you and I, neither of us members of the moneyed classes, yet both of us able to live as a parasite on one of them. You by means of a blood relationship, and I by means of an ability to act as a kind of court jester. Here we are, nicely installed in a rich man's flat, enjoying all the little luxuries of life at his expense.
Mr. Scott Fowler says, can you let him see the stuff he dictated last night?
Would you tell him that I haven't quite finished it all yet? Tell him I'll finish the rest by lunchtime if only Mr. Reed would stop talking for a second.
Yes, sir.
And give him this. It's what I've done up till now.
Yes, sir.
There, you see. What did I tell you?
I'm contrite. I shan't say another word.
Mr. Scott Fowler says you needn't bother to do the rest until he's read what you've done already.
Oh, thanks.
Now, as I was saying, here we are, both able to live as parasites.
Oh, shut up! You may not be interrupting me now, but you still bore me.
You don't like being told you're a parasite?
No, I don't. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the thought of you, all young and fresh and eager, just down from Oxford, determined to make his own way in the world. And what do you find? You can't get a job, because they're filled. Mostly by people who started at the top of something and worked their way down to the bottom.
That's a typical John Reed remark, if ever there was one. It's not original, it doesn't mean a thing, and it's not even funny.
Have I annoyed you, my little man?
Certainly not. Nothing you say could possibly annoy me.
Supposing you got a £10 a week job tomorrow, what would be the first thing you would do? And don't tell me I'd know. You'd marry that girlfriend of yours, Helen, what's her name? You'd get a little two-room flat in Barham or somewhere with a delicious view of the gasworks and the dinkiest little kitchenette you ever saw. You'd rise at 8 every morning and leap into a refreshing cold tub. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. The time marches drearily on, and eventually they give you a rise to £12.10 a week, and then you start to have babies. A room full of hideous, squalling, messy babies. Babies everywhere. In the living room, on the bed, under the bed, in the kitchenette.
Hello, Joe. How do you feel?
Bring me the pledge. I want to sign it. Boo!
Well, morning, Joan. God, you look awful.
No beauty yourself, my darling, in this gay morning light. Oh, I see you've been at the gin.
There's plenty
Get me
left.
one, your pet.
There's plenty left.
Tonic or soda?
Oh, thanks so much, Peter. Tonic, please, right up.
I'm sorry. I forgot there was a gentleman in the room.
You are an infuriating man. I can't think why David and I put up with you.
And I can't think why I was up with you. I'm sorry, that wasn't too good, was it?
No, it wasn't. Oh, thanks so much, Peter, darling. My God! Come here, Peter. Let me look at you. It's wonderful. How do you do it?
Do what?
How do you manage to look like that after staying up till 5?
I don't stay up till 5 very often, I suppose that's why.
Peter's in one of his little moods this morning, when he thinks that we're all wasters, rotters, cads and white trash.
Oh, you don't, do you, Peter?
I certainly never said so.
Well, that's not a very gracious denial, I must say.
Don't blame him too much. It's the fault of his generation, I've been telling him.
There's nothing wrong with his generation. They're just serious-minded, that's all. I think it's very nice.
You don't think anything of the sort. You think they're terrible bores, and so do I. Whatever people may have said about us when we were young, they could never have said that we were bores.
What do you mean, when we were young?
Oh, we were once, darling. A long time ago. Don't you remember?
I hate you this morning, John. Why don't you go back to bed and sleep it off?
I think perhaps that's quite a good idea. Why I stay in this house, I'll never know.
Are you in for lunch, Peter?
No, I'm taking Helen out. I'm sorry, I should have told you.
Oh, that's quite all right. Is Helen coming round here later?
Yes, about 1. Do you mind?
Really, darling? Why on earth should I mind?
I don't know. I just thought it might be taking things for granted, inviting people around here without asking you or David.
But I adore Helen. I think she's an angel. Besides, she's round here so often these days, she's almost one of the family. I suppose you'll be getting married to her soon?
As soon as we possibly can.
What's the hurry?
I'm very much in love with her.
Then what have you got to worry about? You are in love with Helen, and Helen's in love with you.
It's only that I'm frightened from one day to the next that she won't go on being in love with me.
How much would you mind if she didn't?
I don't like to think about it much.
Well, after all, you were at Oxford with her, so that's what, 2 years you've been together?
Being together.
Peter! Don't tell me you and Helen are still a couple of dear little virgins. Oh, I can't understand you, Peter, or Helen.
I know you can't, Joe.
Oh, how dreadful for you, you poor darlings. You must do something about it at once.
Well, I'm trying as hard as I can to find a job.
Yeah, what do people need to get married nowadays?
I don't know. About £10 a week?
Well, if it's simply a question of that, then I'm sure that David would make it all right.
Oh.
I mean, I'm sure he'd be delighted to raise your, well, salary, or whatever you call it, to say £10 a week. You could still go on working here, you see. They wouldn't really even like taking
Have
an
you talked
allowance.
about this to David?
No, of course not, darling. But I know that he'd be awfully glad to make things...
It's terribly kind of you, Joe, really. I'm most awfully grateful. But I'm afraid I couldn't possibly accept it.
Think it over.
It's no good thinking it over. I can never accept it, really.
Oh, well. I knew you wouldn't.
You understand why, don't you?
I couldn't understand less. But I still knew you wouldn't accept it.
I hope you don't think I'm being an ungrateful swine.
don't be schoolboyish, darling. You know I don't think anything of the sort. I think you're a fool, that's all.
Yes, I suppose I am.
Well, don't let's say any more about it. What if I dare go in and see my glamorous husband? Is he conscious yet?
Oh, he's conscious, all right.
How is he, do you know?
I don't, I'm afraid. I haven't seen him yet.
I've been a bit worried about him since he started that pain in his side a couple of weeks ago. I don't want him to go and die on me or anything.
Oh, he says it's only liver.
Well, I know that, Ducky, but that doesn't make it any better. Liver's the bogey of all of us.
He ought to go and see a doctor.
Of course he ought, darling, but who the hell's going to get him to do it? He thinks all doctors are liars, thieves, and bores. So they are, of course.
Anyway, I don't think he can be feeling too bad this morning, because he's reading over that stuff we did last night.
You know, I don't think I shall ever